This is a companion tutorial video for the penny doll pattern available on the Blue Whimsy Etsy shop. So these are all of the pieces from the penny doll pattern. They've all been printed off of the Etsy website and cut out, and now they're ready to pin to the fabric and cut the fabric. So I'm going to start with the head and the arm. For the penny doll, the head and the arm are cut out of muslin. You can also use broadcloth if you want, any kind of skin tone that you want. Doesn't really matter what you choose as long as it's something that would look good as skin for face or arms. Okay, so when I'm cutting the piece for the head, what I want to do is I want to make sure that the grain of the fabric goes with the length of the head. And so when I set it up like this, I'm going to make sure that it goes along lengthwise along the head. And I usually fold it over and cut two at a time, just so that I have a matching front and back piece for the head. So I pin just a couple pins just to keep it in place. Some people like to outline and then they can cut it just from the fabric rather than pinning it. I find it just as easy to cut it out of the fabric with the pattern piece pinned onto it. Okay, so there we have the head piece cut out. For the arms, again, I usually fold it over actually twice, and you want, again, the grain of the fabric to go along the arm length. And so usually what I'll do is I'll take the fabric and fold it over once, making sure I have enough room for two arms side by side, and then I would fold it over a second time, and then I'd pin the arm to that fold. So essentially you have 4 layers of fabric there, and when you're done cutting the one time, you'll have enough for for both arms for the doll. I find it difficult to know sometimes what the right side is of the fabric for the muslin, and I've found with the more dolls that I do, the less I've found it really matters to me. The two sides of the fabric look very similar to each other, and so I don't get too worried if I've got the right side of the fabric in or out for the muslin. Okay, so now I have 4 arm pieces, 2 per arm. The one other thing you need to do with the head piece is you need to trace the face onto one of the sides. So one will be for the back of the head, but the one that you need for the face, you need it traced onto there. And so I put the pattern piece underneath. Sometimes that's enough. If you need a little more contrast, sometimes I'll put another white paper underneath, but that should be enough. So when I trace the face, I try and draw everything. I've got the eyes, the eyebrow, eyelashes, and then the nose and the mouth. So that's ready to embroider. Okay, so I'm just going to set those aside and I'm going to cut the rest of the pieces. For the legs, I've chosen a yellow. I usually try and choose a small pattern for the legs as long as you have about 3 or 4 complementary colors of fabric. That's enough for the legs. Again, you can fold it over twice if you want, so you have the 4 layers, or you can just do one leg at a time. It's up to you, whatever you're more comfortable with. I'll just do one leg at a time here. So the leg piece, again, you need 4 of these. So I'll just pin that on. Okay, so that's ready to go. For the body, I've chosen a red And then together with the yellow and this one, it goes nicely together. So you basically want just 3 or 4 fabrics that look nice together. I usually choose the one with a bigger print for the skirt, the one with a very subtle kind of print for the legs, and something that's fairly neutral, not too busy for the body fabric. Okay, so for the body you need 1 piece for the front, and then you need 2 smaller rectangles to make up the back. And again, I'm going along the fabric with my pattern piece to make sure that, the reason that you want to do that is that when you're stuffing it later, if it's not along the fabric, what happens is your doll can actually start to twist. And I've had that happen, and so it's best to try and make it go along the grain so that you don't get any twisting later. So there's the body front. For the back, again, because I need 2 of these, I would fold it over and I would cut them both at the same time. Just a nice way to save a little bit of time. Okay, so those are the body pieces. So we're done with this fabric. And I'll cut the leg last. The last thing I want to do, or I want to pin, is for the skirt and for the shoulder wrap. And I'm going to make the shoulder wrap and the skirt out of the same fabric, so I'm going to use this floral. So for the skirt, it's a fairly large piece, and you also want to cut it on a fold. So what that means is I'm going to fold the fabric over here, and in order to get a skirt that's long enough to get some nice gathering in it, we want to cut the fold, or we want to make the fold of the fabric here along this edge of the pattern piece. And so I line that up exactly, and then I can pin that on. So there's the skirt piece. And then for the shoulder wrap, it's also cut on a fold. And you need two pieces, both cut on a fold. So for this one, again, I do like to make things a little bit quicker, and so what I would do is I would first measure to make sure I've got my fabric long enough to cut on a fold. And then because I need 2 of these both cut on a fold, I have a fold here, and then I would also fold this over so that I have 2 folds. And when I set up my fabric there, I pin it to the fabric, what I'll have after I cut it is 2 of those pieces each cut on a fold here. That's for the shoulder wrap. Okay, so I have my skirt, my shoulder wrap, I've got the head and the arms already cut. I just have my legs and the hair left to cut, and the shoes. Okay, so that's 2 pieces for the legs. What you need to do then again is, if you'd rather not cut the 4 like I did for the arms, you would again pin this to the leg fabric and cut yourself another 2 pieces for the next leg.